Good afternoon or evening, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to an extra special edition of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and today I'm joined by Darren Woodhead for a very special interview of Accrington Stanley's second all-time leader in games played, none other than Andy Proctor. We're talking about a guy who in the league played 275 matches, scoring 29 goals for Stanley in two different stints between 2006 and 2016. Just a legend with the club. Welcome to the show, Andy. Really excited to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for joining us, Andy. Real privilege to speak to you tonight. Obviously, like Phil said, you're a real legend at the club. Not many can compare with it. You know, the figures of appearances that you've had. So really looking forward to speaking to you.
Over 22,000 league minutes, just to put that in perspective, over 22,000 minutes for Stanley here. You had a 10-goal season back in 2008 when you were only 24 years old. Then you also went on to play with Preston in League One. You went to Barrie, and then you came back and finished your career at Stanley in 2016. So we're really looking forward to going over all of that with you here today.
No problem. Looking forward to it.
So, right to the beginning, Andy, when you first joined Stanley, I noticed that you spent some time at Great Harwood. Can you just tell us a bit about your early career and how it unfolded?
Yeah, I was a schoolboy at Preston North End. I was playing centre half, but they actually deemed I was too small. So I got released, went to Clitheroe. I was still playing centre half, but wasn't really getting much first team action. I was getting a little bit impatient. So my dad actually spoke to Great Harwood's manager, a guy called Dennis Underwood. And he said, yeah, get him to come down, let him come train. So I went down immediately, got thrust into the first team and absolutely loved it. I was playing with some real big characters like Neil Kennedy, Neil Barron, Paul Worley, Clarkson, some real good lads, good players. I was playing in the North West County at 17. And fortunately, Bill Holden was the chairman. I was obviously really good friends with Accrington's chairman at the time, Eric Worley. And he must have put a good word in for me and said, I've got a lad that's half decent, you should take a look at it. And Coley come down and watch me, and the rest is history, as they say. They took a punt on me, and I ended up at Stonegate at 18.
Right, so what were your first negotiations like with Eric? Interesting stories about. I've got a few myself about trying to get paid for books, etc. So it's been interesting.
Yeah. So I went with my dad, and we went to Wickes Hotel in Rishton to negotiate. Eric was sat on one bed. Me and my dad were sat on another bed in the hotel, and sort of said what we wanted, and Eric told us what we were getting. And it was as simple as that, really. Everything was agreed. To be honest, I'd have signed for anything because it was a chance to move to a bigger club, a progressive club, and a chance to showcase what I had at a relatively young age. So yeah, it was pretty straightforward, to be honest. I didn't really have much negotiating power because I'd never really played at that level. So it was pretty straightforward.
And then when you finally pulled on the Stanley shirt, you managed to get in the first team, and you formed a great partnership with ex-Liverpool player Mike Marsh, didn't you? How was that? How did that go?
Yeah, to be honest, Marshy was great for me. I was really raw. I never really played to midfield consistently. Like my son playing, he thought that was the best use of my attributes. So if anything, I was almost learning on the job. Marshy was talking me through the game, dictating where I should play, where I should go. I think we complemented each other well because he was coming to the end of his career and I tended to do a lot of his dirty work, a lot of his running. But he was far too good for the league, to be honest. He could pick a pass that no one else could see. He was just streets ahead.
Yeah, fantastic player, wasn't he? You know, like you said, obviously his legs had gone a bit, but yeah, a great footballer to watch. He eventually, went through the Unibom promotion. Any memories of that, of winning the league?
Yeah, I've still got friends for life from that era. The likes of Steve Flitcroft, Jonathan Smith, Paul, I'm still in regular contact with. Just an unbelievable period. We just seemed to be winning every week, socialising together. The club was just on a roll. We were just a group of mates, really, doing really well. And then, obviously, come the end of that promotion to the conference, it was a huge step up because you're stepping up to a national league. But yeah, it was just a fantastic period, a really good, enjoyable time in my career.
Yeah, when you did manage when we went into the conference, you hit the ground running, didn't you? With your first goal down at Aldershot live on TV.
Yeah, the biggest thing I remember, so it was a really hot day, so we were all absolutely out on our feet. And my dad had actually arranged for the game. It was on Sky, so my dad had arranged for the game to be on in a local pub. So as soon as I scored and I knew it was in, the first thing I thought of was brilliant. My dad's watching it with all his mates back home. I've actually got the picture celebrating Jonathan Smith's on my back and in amongst the crowd. Unfortunately, we didn't get the result we wanted that day, but
no, we were a matter of a sending off, weren't we?
Yeah, that's correct. That's right. But just absolute passion in the goal and feeling like I could actually play at that level. I've never played that before. So to get off the mark was a real good feeling.
Yeah, that was one of the questions we didn't have on the list. But I mean, because you transcended so many promotions and divisions. I mean, how did you find that with moving up between levels? Because you've sometimes 4 levels. I think you played, haven't you?
Yeah, I think sometimes you can overestimate the jump. I certainly did that with the League 1, League 2 to League 1 one. You obviously question yourself. It helps when you're playing a successful team and you pick up results because just through that alone you gain confidence. And it helps when you've got a manager that's got real faith in your goalie. Fortunately, Mr. Rowe. And I knew I'd get game time. It's the case of putting in the hard work and trying to prove I was capable of doing it.
Well, yeah, you managed, like I said, went into the Football League. I mean, a fantastic journey, wasn't it? And everything that went around it, from them moving from conference into that. And you had probably one of your best games in a Stanley shirt that first season it was hard work, wasn't it, that first year? Although we had a good start and tailed off, didn't it? And like hanging on at the end, and then you managed to have a massive game for Stanley, one of the biggest ever for the club, really, against Macclesfield. What are your memories of that?
Yeah. Just remember they were on a decent run at the time. Paul Ince had come in and galvanised them. It was about 6 points at the wrong end of the table. It was a must-win game, to be honest. And I just remember, first off, I've managed to get me out on a corner, and it fortunately went in. And then second, the game was flowing back and forth to get equalising after he took the lead.
I think John Miles was playing, wasn't he, for
yeah, that's right.
Macclesfield that day, yeah.
Yeah, he had real ability. He scored. I managed to receive the ball on the left and get it out my feet, and took it from. I'd probably never shoot from there ever again. It found its way into the top corner. So yeah, but probably one of the highlights of my career, if I'm being honest, just from a personal point of view. Just because the game meant so much in terms of actually stabilising the club and making sure they sustain the position in the league.
Oh yeah, I mean it's difficult to just convey what it meant to the club after all those years of getting back into the Football League, 40 years, and then chance of slipping out at the first attempt at being in the league, and it came up with goods with a massive relief on that day. It's a game that sticks in my mind for probably top 5 games. That what it means. It's all right promotions sometimes, but these games, when you stay in a division, when you've worked so hard to get there, they were massive.
Yeah, and it's credit to John and Jimmy. You look at the club now; it's a totally different club from when I first joined. It's a fully fledged, established football league club. It's a proper club that the community and everyone should be really proud of now.
So I mean, that's another thing. I mean, you've gone through several seasons playing hundreds of games at different levels and different leagues, and unbelievable, really. So, are there any other games that stick out for you as momentous days? And
yeah, the season, obviously, when we got to the playoffs the first time was huge for us. I just remember John at the start of that season saying, "We're not just here to make up the numbers now, lads. We need to have a proper go." We signed some really good players, the likes of Jimmy Ryan, come in, did really well for us. Sean McConville, obviously, who's becoming a top player. Played a lot that season as well. I'd say that was probably a highlight. Obviously, it didn't end the way we wanted, but it just showed where the club could get to. It was the first season where lads actually thought, yeah, we're more than good enough to compete at this level.
Although it turned sour at the end, not just the fact that we lost out on the playoffs, the fact that the squad broke up altogether, really, didn't it, after that? Lots of players out of contract and left, and became a really difficult period, didn't it, that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's something the Aki fans have had to get used to over the years. Rightly or wrongly, the club's become a bit of a showcase of players. Young players go there now, can clock up appearances, and a lot of other clubs, certainly around that time, felt they could take lads relatively cheaply. I don't think it's so much the case now, but I remember we lost Phil Edwards shortly after he actually signed for Stevenage. Jimmy Ryan went to Scunthorpe, but those lads were going to play in a higher league, so you can't really have too many qualms about it. But it was just a shame because we felt we had the makings of a really good team.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that a lot of folks have come in and said is the biggest difference between now since Andy Holt's come in and before. Is that now Accrington can offer guys a 2 or a 3 year contract? Back then, it was pretty much everybody on a 1 year deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just the way, without being bad, the club was operating 12 months. So you were lucky if you got a 2 year contract, to be honest. I know a couple of lads over the years, the likes of Ian Craney, who was a top player, signed 3 years. Gary Roberts, I think he signed a bit of a longer contract, but it was difficult to lad down for significant periods because the club just didn't have the money. If you did well, you got rewarded with another contract. That's how it was. Obviously, the club's progressed. The club's changed dramatically since, but that's how it was over the years. You knew as soon as you come into season, there'd be a group of trialists we'd possibly take 2 or 3 from. And then John and Jimmy would always find these diamonds in the rough coming from all over the football pyramid.
Yeah, they seem to really be able to kind of dig up the guys. It seems like everybody that we've talked to, especially from your era, the mid 2000s era, it seemed like there was a lot of guys that were maybe late bloomers, were maybe at 15, 16, they were told they were too small or too slow, and then kind of around the time maybe they reached 19, 20, really started to come into it. And I think that John and Jimmy are really good at finding those guys, it seems.
Yeah, so football's changed now. A lot of teams have these under 23s development squads. Certainly when I was coming through, if you weren't ready at 17, 18, you got released. That's how it was. You found your way into non-league. So John's got... Well, the pair of them, they both got an unbelievable eye for certain attributes that they like in a player. They're able to spot them and nurture them, and they certainly made the club an awful lot of money over the years and sustained the league position well better than any I can think of out of the whole football system.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about on the show that given the budget of Accrington, that if you got a guy like Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola and brought him into Accrington, they wouldn't know the first thing to do.
No, that's absolutely right. John and Jimmy have got almost like a football blueprint, what it takes to play for Accrington. And the good thing they've got going now, they're actually seen as a really good club for youngsters to come on loan to. I know they've got quite close relationships with quite a few Premier League managers, and Premier League managers trust them now to nurture talent because they know they're going to go there and play.
That's what we've noticed is that the quality of the loan players that are coming in from the big clubs. Like, for instance, we had Aji Alise on the show earlier this week, and he's a guy out of the West Ham Academy that played for the England under 19 teams, and Joe Bursick, of course, he's from Stoke City, and so the bigger clubs are looking and saying, we want to have our guys get some game time under John Coleman, and I think that's a great thing for Accrington.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the kind of place that makes you grow up as well. You're not getting your boots cleaned. You're not getting mollycoddled like they do at these academies. You've got to go and you've got to roll your sleeves up and dig in, and I think it's really good for some of the lads, to be honest. I don't think enough of these top academies send the youngsters out to play. If you're not careful, you can end up being 21, 22 and have no league appearances on your CV, which is crazy, really.
Right, Andy. So, on one section of the podcast, we've asked supporters, ex-players, etc., for questions to yourself. Now, with regards to yourself, I couldn't possibly read them all out because it'd take all evening. It just shows how high esteem you held, even with your ex-teammates. I mean, some of them are quite funny as well. So I won't go through all of them, but I'll just pick a few out because we've had assistant manager Jimmy Bell's been asking about a few questions. One about when you nominated Ian Craney for the worst trainer of the week, so that intrigued me.
So we were training at Blackburn Rugby Club at the time, and we used to get the bib for the worst trainer. You had to wear the bib the following week every day in training. You had to wash the rest of the bibs, and it was seen as a bit of a punishment. So you had to give you 3 nominations, and then the lads would vote. And I put Craney up for the worst trainer, and he didn't take too kindly to it, and we ended up fighting in the canteen.
Is Ian Craney involved with Wigan now as well?
Yeah, that's right. Kitman. He's a kitman at Wigan. We still laugh about it now, to be honest.
I can imagine.
Joe Winnigan, who was a physio at the time, separated us. So we ended up having a hug about it after and laughing, but yeah, that's what that's about.
Usual stuff that goes on in training grounds, I should imagine, most weeks.
Yeah.
So, next one, a guy called Chris Spate here asking, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I thought while we're in this section, he's asking, how did it feel getting made captain of Preston as soon as you joined them?
If I'm being brutally honest, it was probably too much too soon. I've moved in the January. I did form partnerships and cliques within the team and within the dressing room. So I think in hindsight, it would have been better if I'd have just gone in and settled in. I was almost labelled as being Wesley's right-hand man then, when really I didn't know him other than from playing against his teams. In hindsight, obviously you're never going to turn down the captaincy of Preston North End, but in hindsight, it was probably a little bit too much too soon.
Okay. So going back to Stanley for a little while, Rob Russell, someone who asks questions most weeks on here. So you were saying, how would you describe your best position?
I classed myself as a box-to-box midfielder. There's not that position's almost gone these days. You're either a number 4 or a number 8 nowadays. You either do one or the other. But I absolutely idolise Steven Gerrard, but I'd obviously never even attempt as good a player as him. But I just wanted to be involved in everything. I wanted to win a header off a goal kick, a slide tackle at edge of the box, and try and shoot at edge of their box. I just wanted to be involved in everything. And to be honest, my lack of discipline was probably one of my worst attributes, but then my energy and everything was probably one of my best attributes. So
I don't think we've probably had a player who's covered as much ground on a pitch. Probably never will do again. You certainly everywhere.
It was a bit of a running joke because Danny used to put in the paper every week. Andy Proctor 7 covered every blade of grass. It was literally every week.
That reminds me
going back for
of what we were talking about with Joe Maguire the other day. Joe Maguire is kind of the guy out there that covers the most ground that I've seen. When that guy gets out there, he is just anywhere the ball is.
Yeah. So, to be honest, Coley and Jimmy tried to taper that a little bit. We started playing 4-2-3-1, and they tried to put a little bit more discipline in me play. Which, looking back now, I probably should have done a little bit more. But I was just too eager. I just wanted to win too much. I just wanted to get about the pitch and enjoy it.
So just one last question. I can't let this go. Jimmy Bell, because we've got him coming up soon as well, so I'm sure you've got a few questions for him.
I will do. Don't you worry.
Yeah, but he was asking, what about you've been cattle prodded? That intrigued me again, so go on, tell us about
that. We were in Portugal on the end of the season came, and I walked out and I was walking home alone, and they tried to mug me, and I was adamant that they'd use the cattle prod to electrocute me. So I've run back down into the club and I'm like, they just tried to mug me. And they're like, what with? And I said, a cattle prod. And they all just fell about laughing. They thought it hilarious. They thought he would possibly try and mug me with a cattle prod, but I'm adamant to this day they tried to electrocute me.
You're sticking to your story.
Yeah, definitely.
So, was that all the listener questions you had, Darren?
It was, yeah.
Before we get back to football, I kind of wanted to do just an abbreviated version. So we have a section that we do. It's called Rapid Fire, and it started off where it was just like 4 or 5 questions, and now it's gone out to about 10. So I don't think we're going to do all of them here, but these are just some fun kind of questions that we do. They're just kind of true or false, or what are the other type questions for we get some English stuff, some North American stuff. So we've got a little sound effect that I put in. All right, and then so rapid fire. Tony Robinson, this was his brainchild, and it's become one of our most popular sections. The first question that this started off with was red sauce or brown sauce on your bacon buddy?
Ooh, brown sauce.
Mushy peas or garden peas?
Mushy.
Oasis or Blur?
Oasis, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
And then we have Coronation Street or EastEnders, which I actually thought were kind of soaps and not TV shows until I was set straight.
Coronation Street.
All right, and then we have a couple that are North American-centric. Tony is actually originally from Accrington. He now lives outside of Toronto. The signature dish in Canada is called poutine, which is chips topped with gravy and cheese curds. Tony thinks this would be a hit in Lancashire. Would you like to try this?
Absolutely.
All right. Chips, gravy, cheese. You got all 3 food groups there. Why not? And then over in Phoenix, Arizona, we are really big into hot and spicy foods to the point that we put jalapeno peppers on our pepperoni pizza. Would you like to try a pepperoni pizza with jalapeno peppers?
Yeah, I like spicy food, yeah.
All right, good man. We've been posting pizza pictures on Twitter, and I wonder if the pizza shops at Accrington are starting to wonder why people are ordering it all of a sudden. And then Darren, you had that one question that's yours. Did you want to throw that one in?
Never thought I'd be asking this in my life. The backdrop has been some. Phil's a big music fan. When he was outraged when Whitney Houston got inducted into the Hall of Fame. So the question we had that we've been asking people is the song "I Will Always Love You." Would you prefer Whitney Houston or Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton all day.
All right. Oh, yeah. And then the very last one, which is our
the original,
our new one for the very last one, which is our new one for this week. Are you planning to watch season 2 of Sunderland Till I Die?
I'm already on it. I've already watched the first 4 episodes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, something similar. I'm 3 episodes into the second series, so yeah, it's must-see TV. But you remember the Stanley documentary, Andy?
Do I?
Yeah, I don't know if Phil's had the opportunity to watch that.
Story. Yeah, that's
the
story I need to.
It's still on YouTube. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'm gonna need to find this because I have not seen it yet. I am surprised.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing, Phil.
How have I not
It's
heard of
absolutely
it?
brilliant.
This is on you, Darren. You should have told me about this before.
No, I'll let you down. I thought you knew everything about Stanley, Phil.
Oh, you've forgotten more about Stanley than I can tell you everything that's happened in the past 3 seasons since I got iFollow.
Right, okay, so moving on a little bit, you eventually left the club like we've touched on. You went to Preston with our friend, Mr. Wesley. Go on, just go into that a little bit more because, I mean, Phil will realise as well, Preston North End's a huge club in the Northwest.
Yeah.
And going from a little old Stanley into Preston, they're a big club.
Yeah. It was a real big thing for me because obviously they released me as a kid. So for things to come full circle and end up signing for him was like a huge opportunity for me. It had come pretty late in my career. I think I was 28 at the time. But I was absolutely delighted to sign. I quickly realised it was a club in transition. So they had some real big players at the time, Neil Mellor, Ian Hume, those kind of lads. But they were trying to cut the ways, Bill. They were trying to cut the cloth accordingly because they'd been relegated to League One. So it was a real fractious, real split dressing room. And if truth be told, Mr. Wesley wasn't a popular appointment, both in the dressing room and amongst the fans. So it was a real difficult time playing. I don't think I did myself justice, if I'm being honest, while I was there. It was all probably a little bit too much pressure into the captaincy and stuff. But it's something to look back on and be proud of the fact that a captain Preston North End. It's a fantastic club with some fantastic people. Unfortunately, I was just there at a time when
At the wrong time.
Yeah.
Well, from there, you managed to move on to Bury.
Yeah, I could pick them. That was a club in transition, so when I signed, they only had 6 players, but I was sold the rebuilding team, and we were going to sign.
Who was the manager when you signed on this? Who was the boss?
It was Kevin Blackwell.
Oh, yeah.
It was Kevin Blackwell when I signed, and a new chairman had come in to do it there. He was planning on throwing quite a lot of money about. We didn't really get off to too good a start, if I'm being honest, but it was understandable because we were a completely new team. We still had some real good players, like Danny Mayer, Nardiello, some pretty big names at that level. Unfortunately, Mr. Blackwell got sacked. Ronnie Jepson come in, who I had a real good relationship with, and then Dave Flitcroft come in, who had his own ideas, wanted to bring his own players in. That's when I found an exit route out back to Aki. James Beaker signed me back.
I actually found a quote from when you returned back to Aki when you said, I spoke to James Beattie in the summer and made it clear that I was keen to coming back. It became apparent I wasn't going to get many games at Barrie, and I've never seen someone sit on a contract, so I just wanted to come back and get games again. When I left Accrington, we just finished in the playoffs and were on the verge of the playoffs when I actually left. That's where I'd like to help the club return to. So with that quote, it sounds like it was something where you were really looking forward to coming back.
Yeah, I was getting to a stage in my career where I just wanted to play. I was approaching 30. I think that season they hadn't won the first 6 games when I signed. So still watching them languish at the wrong end of the table, but fortunately managed to turn it around and get out of the relegation zone. And actually, I've never been one to sit on the bench and just watch. I've never really been on enough money to just be happy to take my money, if I'm being honest. I've always wanted to be involved and contribute, and that's where I played my best football at Accrington. That's where I was most happy, and that's where I chose to go back to, and fortunately managed to get out of it.
Speaking of your best football, just kind of going back, when I was looking through your numbers, there were 3 seasons that really stuck out to me. One, of course, being the breakout season of your career, which is the 10 goals in 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
But I also saw it was both the 2009, 2010, and 2010-11 seasons. You really played a lot of minutes, over 3,900 in 2009, 2010, almost 3,800 in 2010-11. You had 11 goals and combined between those 2 years. So those, to me, when I kind of went over your numbers, looked like maybe your three best. What would you say was your best season? Would you say those were probably your three best?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, I was pretty lucky. So I had quite a serious knee injury right at the start of my career. The season we got promoted out of the conference, I snapped my cruise ship. But after that, touch wood, I never really had any muscle injuries or niggles. I just got on a run of games, a run of playing, and fortunately, I had a manager that had faith in me. So I knew if I was fit, there was every chance I'd play. I'd probably say those 3 seasons. Going back to the goal scoring record, I think it helped being on penalties as well. I took quite a few penalties in my time, which obviously bumped me up.
Four penalties in 2008, and you converted all of them. So you're certainly doing a good job there. To me, the season that really kind of stuck out to me was 2010-11, because that was the season you guys finished 5th and made the playoffs. You had 6 goals, started 42 games, and that was the season that it really seemed to kind of come together for the club. That we mentioned that a little bit earlier, obviously.
Yeah, that was the season we actually thought we could actually properly compete at that level instead of just survive. And looking back at my career at Accrington, there's a couple of times we should have actually got promoted out of that league. I remember when we had Michael Symes, we should probably got promoted that year. Him and Bobby Grant formed a really good partnership up front. We should have got promoted. And then obviously the season we had Josh Hendricks, Matt Crooks. We were by far and away the top 2 best teams in that league that year. We just couldn't get it over the line. So I was so pleased to see John and Jimmy finally do it. Obviously, the season had left.
When I was getting deeper into your stats, one thing that really impressed me was your on-target percentages and some of your scoring percentages. Back in that 2008 season, you had 16 shots on target, and 10 of those went in, which is just an incredible number. You actually, in 2009, 50% of all the shots you took were on target. You had, just great percentages. That it really tells me, even if you said earlier that maybe you were too aggressive in terms of chasing after the ball, that you had very good shot selection, and if you were taking the shot, there is a good chance it was going to be on target. And if it was on target, there is a good chance it was going in.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said I was the cleanest of ball strikers. There's people like Ian Craney that were far more talented in terms of that. But it was something I worked on. We used to practice shooting regularly with Coley. He used to love to get involved as much as anyone. But yeah, it was certainly something I worked on. And to be honest, my numbers should probably have been a little bit higher. Yeah, it was something that we practiced regular.
No, I mean, I remember, many spectacular goals that Andy scored, Phil, and they're all there on YouTube. We'll have to dig some out and put them on the Across the Pitch Facebook page and website for everyone to have a look back on.
We have another website that's going to be launching in the next couple of days that we should probably talk about, and definitely will be the place for those videos. Why don't you talk a bit about what we're getting started for you, Darren?
Yeah, so the Accrington Stanley Memories that started on Facebook with a few people involved now, with up to 1,500 members. It's gone over onto Twitter as well. And Phil has been good enough to put a website together for me that's going to be released pretty soon, and we can get all that kind of stuff all in one place.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
History about seasons and the videos and, photographs each season. So it's all documented in there forever, really.
Yeah, that'd be class.
We also have the North American Supporters Club website, and then we're working with Peter Latham with the main Supporters Club website, and then just going to have kind of a big network of everything Stanley coming up here soon.
Great stuff. So, Andy, going back to your what we mentioned on then about injuries just takes us nicely into your role as a physio. When did you first start looking at a career in that kind of work? Staying in football in the physio side of things.
It was actually when I snapped my cruciate as an 18, 19-year-old. So as part of my rehab, I was going to Lily Show like once every 6 weeks, and they give you like a rehab sheet, and you come back and work on it back at your club, and then you go back, get reassessed. And at the time, I think I had another 2 years left on my contract, but at the level we were playing at, snapping your cruciate, people don't go back to the previous level of performance. So I was actually panicking to start looking at a second career. So I applied for the part-time course at Salford at the PFA fund. It was one of the best things I'd done, to be honest. Used to go to night school on a Monday and Thursday. And then in the off-season, you had to do your clinical hours, clinical placements in hospitals. And it just grew from there, really.
Right. Well, now you've teamed up with Paul Cook, another ex-Stanley player and coach, initially at Portsmouth, I think, and then down to Wigan.
Yeah, that's right. So Coley actually offered me another year when I was at Accrington, but I haven't really played too much the previous season. And my ankle still from when I broke it that previous season. Didn't really feel like I was doing myself much justice playing that. I didn't want to become one of those bitter old pros that get sick of travelling here, there and everywhere and not playing. I didn't want to take the memories of Accrington. I got offered the job at Portsmouth. Liam Richardson, who was previously the manager at Accrington, told me, said, just come down and have a look at the training ground and Fratton Park, and obviously it's really impressive. So as soon as I'd gone down and had a look at the size of the club, my mind was made up. It was an opportunity I couldn't turn down, and fortunately things have gone really well since. It's a fantastic second career that I absolutely love. It had never replaced playing, but I don't think anything would.
Yeah, so when you went down to Portsmouth, how did that work out from a family perspective? Because I think sometimes we overlook that kind of thing. So you get an opportunity to go down to Portsmouth. How did that work out for you all?
So we all moved down. My wife, Gemma, was pregnant at the time, and she was going to give up a job, and we all moved down to a lovely little village called Warsash, just on the outskirts of Southampton. We absolutely loved it down there, to be honest. It was just, unfortunately, a hugely expensive place to live, and it probably wasn't financially sustainable to carry on living down there, but we loved it. If
probably better weather than Accrington, I'm guessing.
I always thought it was a bit of a myth when they said it was warmer down south, but it definitely is warmer down south.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it.
So back up to Wigan, so obviously quite close to home. A lot easy to commute there. And we've got a large number of ex-Stanley contingent on the books of Wigan Athletic at the moment, haven't we?
Yeah, so Anthony Barry's first team coach. He's one of the most highly regarded young English coaches in the game at the minute. He's on his pro licence. Liam Richardson, same, assistant manager. He's currently completing his pro licence, really well respected in the game. Obviously the gaffer, Paul Cook, former Accrington player and manager, done really well. And then Ian Craney's come in as hitman as well, so it's quite nice to all come back together. It's a real nice environment to work in. A tough environment, but really enjoying it.
Right. So I'm Gary Roberts as well.
Yeah. He's getting out of the edge, Gary. He's before this virus broke out, he just brought back into the team, and his performances were exceptional. He's still really fit, still got lovely ability, great left foot, and he's still a huge asset to the club, to be honest. Top player.
He was fantastic for Stanley. He's somebody we'd like to get on this podcast. So if you can flip away and say we want him on here.
I'm actually treating him tomorrow. He'd be really good on it. He'd be real good value on it.
Be excellent. Absolutely.
Yeah. You've been treating. You've been treating a current Stanley player, I believe, recently, haven't you, Mr. McConville?
Yeah. He basically just asked if he could come in because we've got obviously quite a well-equipped gym at Accrington, and I know there's only one therapist at the minute working. So he had his hands full. So we just said he could come in as and when he needed to, and if we could help him in any way in his rehab, we would. Obviously, that's been put on hold. But the quicker we can get him back for you lads, the better, because he's certainly a fantastic player for Accrington.
He was really starting to come into form for the season and score some goals when he had that injury. We had him on a few weeks ago, and he sounded like he had gotten the walking boot off. And I guess maybe the only good thing that could come out of this delay is by the time things get back, maybe he'd be ready to come back again.
Yeah, I think he's 4 months plus off being back, but it depends how long this goes on for.
Hopefully not that long, but much from what I've seen is that I read the other day that Toronto, Canada, has already canceled things for the end of June. So I'm thinking if they're doing it, then probably worldwide we're probably looking July at the earliest. But that's just I'm saying they officially announced that, so I'll go off of. We're probably looking at July if Toronto is already set.
I don't know how they'll go on restarting the season though, because surely lads will be out of contract.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult, isn't it?
We spoke with Jordan Clark about that because his contract would be up on June 30th. He said that his thought would be that they would just sign a month-by-month deal for however long. Right. But I mean, that's the thing is it's already gone on at this point long enough that it's more complicated than just restarting games. And it's just a mess. I mean,
they're going to need a preseason.
Unfortunately, football is probably one of the least essential things out there that's a mess right now. It's just I still see pictures of people out on the beach today. I don't know what's wrong with people anymore.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The quicker we can get out of this, the better.
Yeah. Did you have anything that we hadn't asked you about that you wanted to make sure that we covered here today?
No, I think that's pretty much everything.
Darren, did you have left that we had missed? I got through with what I had written down.
No, that's fine. I'm done. I'd just like to say thanks for joining me, Andy. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. I know you're held in high esteem at the club, close to the community, and I know your dad still comes watching us, doesn't he, as well, and close ties to the club, etc. So it's great to have you on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Top man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. And the beginning of the show, the most important thing is keep yourself and your family safe and healthy, and hopefully we'll be back to football sooner rather than later.
Fingers crossed. Thank you.
Well,
appreciate it.
And we always finish with it on Stanley on.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.